I'm going to share a regret with you, and I'm being totally serious here. When I first saw the fountain pens made by Benu, I thought they were obnoxious. If you look at the rest of the fountain pens in the industry, nothing looks quite like a Benu pen. I was like, what are they doing? And I thought to myself, this is not what fountain pen people want. I was dead wrong. Like so many others, I misjudged, and Benu eventually won me over. Not just with their pens, but by the people and the passion behind the pens. So today, I'm going to be giving you the gift of time travel, which in this case is the context that you'll need to skip over the, oh my God, these are so sparkly, I'll never buy one of those phase, and into the, holy crap, I think they made that pen just for me phase. Let's get started. Here's something that might surprise you. Benu began in just 2016 in the basement of a family country cottage in Moscow. Alex Semenin and Kate Dimitrieva both knew that they wanted to produce original, bold designs that were unique to their brand. Alex is the creative visionary behind the design and the production of the pens, while Kate essentially steers the ship with marketing, service, and operational details. Together, they chose to name their company after Benu, B-N-N-U, an Egyptian bird deity, because it's more or less the origin of the phoenix. So you've got a rebirth / constant change theme. And this is important because Benu is, simply put, a new style of fountain pen. They're very much doing their own thing, which should be pretty obvious. Let me revisit my personal timeline again. Back when I was in our customer care department here at Goulet Pens, and we were just starting to carry Benu, I see that they're selling pretty well, even though back then we were only carrying the ones with the smaller nibs. But strangely, returns and overall service issues were suspiciously low. And again, I saw these pens and I thought, all sizzle, no steak. Wrong again. It all made sense when I found out that Alex, the designer, previously had a long career in restoring Renaissance-era paintings. And if that wasn't meticulous enough of a skill set for you, he also designed watches. And that is when it all started to make sense to me. Benu is sizzle and steak, flash and function. Alex knows what quality looks like, and he has the experience needed to achieve it. Let's bounce over to a pen, and then we'll come back to behind the scenes stuff. I'd like to show you the Benu Briolette. This pen is a nod to Alex's jewelry background. So a Briolette cut gem features diamond or triangular cuts, which you can see here on this pen. This is one of their older models featuring a smaller number 5 size nib made in Germany by Schmidt, which is where all of their nibs are currently being manufactured. This one has a noticeable step from the barrel to the grip, but folks who prefer a narrow grip will probably appreciate the fact that the grip section here is long enough so that that step from the barrel to the grip shouldn't get in your way. The Briolettes also sometimes have the word luminous in their names, which should and can be taken literally, as those pens will glow in the dark. Another thing that made me smile, knowing that people like to hold glow-in-the-dark items up to lights, to get them to glow brighter, Benu provides a warning as to the temperature in which the resin, the glow-in-the-dark resin, will start to degrade. So I like to imagine Alex testing that himself while Kate walks in as he's melting a pen for science. By the way, that temperature threshold is 50 degrees Celsius or 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Benu is the only company I know of whose website takes you step by step through the production process. I'll link their site in the description of this video so you can check it out. It's pretty cool. And just so you know, when I say that Alex is the designer, I don't mean that he just comes up with the design. He is with the pens from concept through production. Benu now has a skilled team in addition to Kate and Alex, but they both still lead the brand by staying very hands-on at every turn. And speaking of hands-on, let's take a look at the Benu Talisman. This model encompasses so much of Benu's passion that it's kind of hard not to think of it, me anyway, I think of it as their flagship pen. And let me start by saying this. There's a reason. Always. Nothing about a Benu pen is arbitrary. These pens are like fireworks, right? At first glance, a Benu pen looks like a wild explosion of vibrance. Like fireworks, though, there's nothing chaotic about their actual design. There's art, there's precision, there's a science behind the end result. With the Talisman line specifically, each of these uniquely faceted pens draws design inspiration from stories of stones and roots, flowers, and other natural items that have, at some point in history, been believed to have special properties. Of course, Benu doesn't just stop there with inspiration. No, they have to actually infuse the literal talisman element into the pen's resin. Alex mixes these himself, so he will track down actual mandrake, edelweiss, four-leaf clovers, or whatever he needs. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if one day he got his hands on some kryptonite or something. Kryptonite. Unlike the Briolette, the Talisman has the larger number 6 size nibs, which tends to be more widely appealing. So, following the Ukraine invasion, Benu did relocate from Russia to Armenia in March 2022 and has been since based in Yerevan, the capital of Armenia. From there, they continue to innovate new models, new designs, and to make new connections within this amazing community. And that is what I want to talk about next. If it wasn't already clear, Kate and Alex make pens that people can connect with. They listen to the community, they listen to the retail partners and their customers to conceive of new and often challenging themes to compress into a pen's design. And I can tell you from experience that no concept is beyond consideration for them, no matter how wild. Alex loves a challenge, and more on that later. The more designs that they produce, they are more likely to hit someone's bullseye, right? I've heard so many times, most people appreciate Benu, it's just not for them, and sure, sometimes that's true. However, more often than not, it's just a matter of time until Benu figures out that you're a Taco Bell junkie and they release a Baja Blast pen, leaving you no choice. And as much as I'd like that personally, I don't think a Taco Bell collab is happening anytime soon, but that vibe is exactly what Benu is going for with their Euphoria line of pens. These pens are faceted, slightly tapered pens, and again with the number 6 larger steel nib, and are lovely on their own, but the real beauty of the Euphoria is the concept. Each Euphoria model represents a joy, a pleasure, like a little slice of life that is deserving of celebration. And I love that concept so much because to me, that speaks to the role that fountain pens themselves play in our lives today, right? So while the Talisman is Benu's intentionality on display, the Euphoria model represents their free spirit. Within this model, you'll see the iced caramel latte, the Earl Grey, the Neapolitan ice cream. Okay, yeah, those were all ideas that we worked with Benu. But, so I'm a little biased, but the Euphorias can also draw information from joys of poetry, exotic locations, holidays, any of life's little and amazing delights. Would you like another example of me underestimating Benu? For years, I would tell customers about the Visconti Divina, the spirally pen, and how Visconti used the golden ratio to create an amazing, twisted, faceted design that somehow miraculously lines up every time you cap it. And meanwhile, Benu is over here doing that same thing and not being paid attention to. The Grand Scepter and the Scepter, smaller one, larger one, they take that signature Benu resin and spiral the facets to emulate a scepter. The size and balance of this model is great. It really does make a great pair for the exciting resins that Alex whips up. And these also include some glow-in-the-dark versions as well, like the Briolette that we talked about. And the heat limit of these pens isn't the only thing they tested. So on the Benu website, they also provide a visual guide comparing glow intensity over different time periods, comparing the results of both incandescent and LED light. That level of care and education speaks volumes about the team at Benu and where their priorities lie. A glow-in-the-dark pen might seem like a casual gimmick, but like I said before, Benu doesn't do arbitrary. They want that glow-in-the-dark function to be at its best. You can also find other fountain pen models available from Benu and some pretty interesting accessories as well. Most noteworthy, however, is that Benu employs artists that specialized in micro painting, which is what it sounds like. And that puts Benu in a very unique place in the industry, being able to produce different hand-painted pens throughout the year, each with intricate and fun designs that retain Benu's mission and goal to create original art and bold pieces that are unmistakably their own. It's also incredibly uncommon for a pen to have this amount of hand painting and for the cost to be as low as it is here. You remember at the beginning of this video, I told you that I initially saw Benu and I thought, this isn't what fountain pen people want. Well, obviously, not only did they want them, but I learned that Benu pens are the fountain pen community in a lot of ways. All right, they're diverse, they're full of love, and they're a little crazy, like us. In my opinion, that kind of makes Benu the people's pen. I hope this was helpful. You can find all the links to Benu's pens in the description below, and if you want more, I'll link their website as well if you want to hear more about their story, history, and the process they use to make pens. Until next time, please do have fun. Please do. Right on.